No, we are not. Now we are. Okay. Um, Good morning and welcome everyone to the inaugural session of the one-week faculty development program on meaningful research and intellectual property rights. On behalf of the Teaching Learning Center, Ramanujan College, I welcome our chief guest, Professor Ramesh Gaur, who will be joining with us shortly. Guest of honors, Professor Nimal Jindal and Professor Manoj Kumar Shukla. Participants who have joined us online through YouTube, program coordinators from the collaborating institutions, the organizing team, colleagues, and friends. We welcome you to this one-week faculty development program, which has been organized by the Teaching Learning Center, Ramanujan College, in collaboration with Rajkiya Engineering College, Uttar Pradesh, and Satyavati College, University of Delhi under the Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching scheme of Ministry of Education. We are all aware about the importance of intellectual property rights, and rightly so, as India has joined the global patent system. However, still, there is a dearth of experience in the domain of IPR in academic institutions. For any educational institutions, as we all know, to fulfill its objective in distributing knowledge and establishing a research base, it needs to maintain secrecy in connection to certain kind of information to file for IP registration. Similarly, for universities, maintaining a correct balance and fine tuning of academic brilliance with academic integrity, as well as protection and utilization of intellectual property rights, is becoming increasingly crucial. This not only helps in minimizing the extent of intellectual property crimes, which are increasing in the digital era, but also encourages the development of creative ideas, research by securing them. So, this present faculty development program is a step in this direction. It is an endeavor to bridge the gap between innovation and IPR filings by acquainting the participants with the best practices towards IP violation and enforce strong mechanisms for IPR filing. On this note, I request Professor T.K. Mishra, our Vice Principal, and also the Director of School of Happiness to kindly welcome our dignitaries and deliver the formal welcome address. Uh, so you're mute. Yes.
Thank you, Shipra. Good morning to everyone. And I welcome you all to this very important activity on a very important subject also. We have moved from merely doing research, from research to meaningful research. That makes a lot of sense. And then perhaps IPR. The purpose of IPR is essentially original work and discourage, copy paste. So both the topics are really very important for the academy. Welcome, Professor Gors. The problem is how to make a research meaningful. When a research question becomes meaningful, then it is highly motivating and interesting for the researcher. And therefore, the outcome also becomes very relevant. Therefore, the subject is very important. And here we would like to emphasize that how a research question becomes very interesting and motivating. Obviously, when you are aware of the purpose of the research, who this research work is going to benefit, the individual, the society, the lives, what lives, political life, social life, economic lives, lives of the individual or lives of the society. So firstly, we need to be absolutely clear that the work that I'm doing, the research work, we are searching again, to benefit, who is the beneficiary? And then the next thing is that it should be motivating and interesting. The research work becomes motivating and interesting when it is meant for the welfare of others, the society, not welfare of an individual. With the professional success, you want to do some permanent job or promotion, and then for that you are completing the doing the formalities. Then obviously it is not so interesting and motivating also. So others oriented, welfare oriented, all the inventions, scientific inventions, research work that have been praised, essentially because they were meant to benefit the society in general. So if you want to make a meaningful research, it has to be others oriented. And then some newness should be there, a variety. And then obviously, whatever you have taken up should be empirically testable. I was going through a very good research work of the University of Milan. Yesterday, I came across the outcome. And it says that the aspirations of youth are changing. 40% of the youth, young people surveyed, prefer quick wealth and fame instead of regular jobs. This is a recent trend. And another good finding, when we are talking about meaningful research, it says that national economies change when social changes happen. What it says, that national economies change when social changes happen. But happiness does not rise correspondingly to the rise in income. Interesting study. That opens gate for all of us that if income is not boosting your happiness, then what else? And yesterday in the Times Lit Fest, Siddharth, he was talking about that how Siddharth Malya is son of Vijay Malya, and he has written a book, If I Am Honest. And in that, he revealed that no human is immune to the mental disease issues or mental related issues, irrespective of your age, your the privileges, your gender. So these are certain things which are very interesting. That yes, we all see that despite high level of income, there is a lot of divorce and suicide and unrest all over the society. So that opens the gate for further research that after all, what would get us happiness in the society, what would reduce the stress level of the individuals, because nowadays mostly we are focused upon economic development and rise in income level, but we are unmindful of the fact that these are not going to solve all your human problems, human disorders. You need something other. And that is why, you would be happy to know that our college, we have opened on values-based happiness. Perhaps being kind to others will get you. By giving to others will give you joy. So certain other features are required for your well-being and for your happiness, not necessarily the money factor or the income factor. Up to a level is fine, but a lot of research has said, and that is why people say, I mean, the research also says that United States is the unhappiest country in the world. Why? They are well off, but still, why the research says like this? That motivates us to do further analysis as to what can make us really very happy. So I'm really very fascinated by this particular topic, that is meaningful research. I hope all the dignitaries, they are expert in their areas, they would contribute overwhelmingly, and they would inspire researchers to move into a direction that gives them immense pleasure, a sense of satisfaction, a meaning of their lives, and a sense of contribution to the academic world. We have wonderful people, Dr. Gaur and Chief Guest Professor Jindal and several other people, along with our faculty members. We have Shipra, Ashish Shukla, all these, Nikhil Valput is there, all these people have been doing a lot for the academic community, and as a result, we have been able to educate in this area to more than 1 lakh teachers across the country, and all of them have very high regard for us. And even we have experienced that the resource persons who join us, they also feel a sense of contribution, and they are delighted to be part of the entire system. And the best example I can see is Professor Gaur, who has been a source of inspiration right since beginning. And whenever we request him for anything, he is always ready to do that. We are really very grateful to him. And maybe he is guiding our destiny and educating our all faculty members to do something great for the society. With these words, I would thank you all again and welcome you all to this very important activity, and hope that all of you would gain a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Mishra. Thank you for your inspirational, welcome address and highlighting the importance of research. So thank you once again. And we welcome Professor Gaur, Professor Ramesh Gaur, our chief guest for today, once again. Moving ahead, we have our guest of honor, Professor Nirmal Jindal from our collaborating institution, Satyavati College, University of Delhi. I request Professor Jindal to please, address our participants and share her thoughts about the program. I guess.
Please ask him to unmute.
No, I guess there's a network issue with her. So maybe.
Yes, Shipra, conducted.
Yes. So maybe we can, I can request. Yes. So meanwhile, we can request humbly Professor Manoj Kumar Shukla, one of our other guest of honors and director of Rajkot Engineering College, Kannauj, Uttar Pradesh, to address our participants of the 1 week faculty development program. Professor Shukla.
Namaskar. Very warm good morning to all of you. Respected Professor T.K. Mishra ji, Professor Ramesh ji, Professor Nirmal Jindal ji, Professor Patro, Professor Sehnaz Ayub, and many other faculty members who are taking part in this particular FDP. I welcome you all on this occasion of this FDP. In fact, the research in India is going on since its ancient times. Our scientists, our rishis, munis, they have done a lot of research in the field of engineering, astronomy, as well as in medical field. But unfortunately, in those days, there was no IPR registration. And also, if it was so, after certain years of centuries, it may got expired also. Nowadays, available to all the humankind for its use. But unfortunately, many of the scientists abroad, they have just duplicated the idea and got it patented by their name. There are a lot of examples are there, including the patents on haldi, patents on many other, biological or geological properties, and our engineering innovations. Many people say that the first aeroplane was invented by Indian, Mr. Talpade, but the name goes for Wright brothers. Many says that J.C. Bose has invented the wireless communication, but again it goes to Graham Bell and Marconi. So that is the reason why we should be well aware of this particular IPR innovation and its awareness. In fact, we are not even less than anyone in the world. We do research. But the thing is that the research is not only the one thing which we have to do. We must go also for the innovation, means a new application of that particular research in another domain or in a cost-effective domain. And that may again be patented. In India, we were not so much aware since we were under Great Britain, but now we are independent in 1947, and in 1995, India signed an agreement with WTO for being included inside it. At present, we are having the rank of 76 out of 143 countries in the IPR sky. So a lot of things has to be done still, and I basically belong to HBTU Kanpur. I'm professor over there in electronics communication engineering. What I felt over there, a lot of researches are being done by the researchers and the students, but they are always inside the almirah. They are not getting patented. They are not getting properly registered with the websites. And I also became the victim of for the same. Whatever the work I did, with a slight change, it was registered in Japan during my PhD, whatever I have worked. So that is the basic problem for we Indians, that we are unaware of the streams just flowing in the river of knowledge. We must be aware of all the things. Our students must be aware of all the things. And whatever we do, if that is somewhere innovative, we have to get it properly documented and get it registered on an IPR website or IPR register. So that is the basic thing which we lack. This particular FDP, I hope that the participants will be well aware of doing this process. And what are the basic things we have inside it, they must be well aware of it. यही मेरा सोचना है कि हम भारतीय किसी से भी कम नहीं, दिक्कत सिर्फ इतनी सी है कि हम अपने चीज को अलमारी में रख के भूल जाते हैं और कुछ समय के पश्चात या तो वो खोज, वो इनोवेशन, वो नवाकरण पासा हो जाता है या उसको कोई और अंगीकृत कर चुका होता है। तो हम समय पर अपना कार्य करें और अपने जितने भी नवाकरण, इनोवेशन जो भी हैं, उनको समय से इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट यानी बौद्धिक संपदा पोर्टल पर रजिस्टर कराएं। और जो हमारी स्थिति आज की डेट में है, जैसा मैंने बताया 76वीं है 143 देशों में, वो कहीं इम्प्रूव, कहीं बेहतर हो सकती है। इट विल बी इम्प्रूव्ड if we just focus on getting registered whatever we are doing. In REC Kannauj also, when I came over there, I saw that many of the faculty members had a wonderful job. But again, that was the problem, they had not gotten registered. So I have started this particular movement in all the engineering colleges as well, in my engineering college, so that all the students and the faculty members should get knowledge about it and may start giving the benefit to the society and the country. Thank you very much for inviting me over here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Shukla. And I really hope that, this FDP joins in the endeavor and your effort to make India and the researchers of India more recognized in terms of patents. So now may I request Professor Nimal Jindal, Principal, Satyavati College, to share her thoughts about the program and address our participants.
Thank you, Shipra. Actually, my internet connection had been so unstable and I really got disconnected. So I'm joining from my device, mobile device. Thank you very much. So Honorable Director, Teaching Learning Center and Principal, Ramanujan College, Professor Agrawal, Principal, Rajkiya Engineering College, Professor Shukla, my dear esteemed colleagues and participants of this FDP, 1 week online FDP on meaningful research and intellectual property rights. So it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this platform because it is already deliberated that how this intellectual property right has become such a critical issue in the contemporary world. Because in the age of globalization and with the revolution in information and technology, it has become very easy to replicate or to copy the researches, the ideas. As my earlier speaker had maintained that how his PhD thesis idea had been stolen by some or whatever, replicated by the Japanese companies or whatever. So I'm saying that this plagiarism, particularly in academic world, has become such a common problem in the contemporary world. And we all need to protect our innovative ideas, our original ideas and everything. So for that, we have to be aware of all the laws, all the practices that can harm us, harm our researches. And moreover, particularly in the practical world, as in the third world countries, though researchers had been quite advanced in countries like India. But otherwise, if we see in the third world countries earlier, reverse engineering had been very, very common. And various companies had been replicating or producing industrial production is harmed, their work is harmed. And their profitability that can come to them through that research, that is also harmed. So in order to encourage research and development, it is very important to protect the interest of the creator. So this is all about the laws of intellectual property right. And we have to make people, particularly researchers and those budding scholars, in the academic world, they should be aware of, these most of these practices, so that they should also not follow such practices, and they should also be able to protect their own researches. So I think that this intellectual property right FDP will be very, very useful for all the scholars who have joined this FDP, because they will know what is intellectual property right. Because people think that, this is not the area we are interested in. This is the area of interest to everyone, any academician, because we need to know what are these laws, how we can protect our interests, how we can encourage research and development, and how it protects the interest not only of the creator, but also the interest of the consumer. Because if there is competition, and then people try to have better products or better researches, then consumer also has freedom to choose out of many, which is good. So I think that this FDP will be very, very insightful for most of the participants, and they will have a lot of takeaways. So I congratulate congratulate Ramanujan about these kind of knowledge and insights. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to collaborate with you. And I welcome all the participants to this platform once again. Thank you, Shipra.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, Professor Jindal. Both our special guest of honor today highlighted the importance, stressed about the importance of having innovation in research, and that innovation can come only when we understand the importance of patent, IPR, and the best practices related to plagiarism prevention. And who better than our chief guest for today, Professor Ramesh Gaur, can talk about this and share his thoughts about this. So we welcome once again Professor Ramesh Gaur, our chief guest and keynote speaker for this 1 week faculty development program. Before I invite him, I would like to briefly tell about his accomplishments. So Professor Ramesh C. Gaur, Dean Director and Head Culinary Division at Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, New Delhi, Ministry of Culture, Government of India, is one of the senior most faculty official in IGNCA and also officiates for member secretary when he is on tour. As a dean, IGNCA, he is responsible for management and smooth running of various academic programs, including 7 postgraduate diploma courses and 5 short-term certificate courses in diverse disciplines, such as cultural management, South Asian studies, Buddhism, digital library and data management, cultural informatics, conservation, folklore, tribal studies, research methodology, ethnographic documentary making, screenwriting, amongst many. Besides the many administrative responsibilities and roles which Professor Gaur has, he has played a pivotal role in creating awareness, education, and training on and about research publication ethics, particularly on plagiarism in India. He was the member of University Grants Commission, erstwhile MHRD Committee, for drafting of UGC 2018 regulations. He has conducted and delivered more than 200 workshops and invited talks on plagiarism, its detection and avoidance. Professor Gaur has significantly contributed in digitization, digital archiving of Indian cultural heritage, promoting open access, particularly electronic theses and dissertations, preservation of Indian languages through language documentation and digital archiving, research data management, research methodology, awareness about documentary heritage, particularly through UNESCO, Memory of the World Program, Intangibles, Cultural Heritage, Archival and Information Science, etc. He has visited over 24 countries, USA, UK, France, Russia, to name a few. Also, he has widely traveled in India in relation to various professional meetings and other professional tasks. Amongst the many awards and recognitions conferred to Professor Gaur, he has been awarded, I'm very delighted to share with you all that he has been awarded the Best Teacher and Mentor Award in recognition of his contribution in promotion of academic integrity and excellence in prevention of plagiarism in higher educational institutions in India. So on this note, I welcome Professor Ramesh Gaur, and I request you, sir, to kindly, speak on the theme topic.
Thank you, Shipra, for very kind and generous introduction. It is always a great honor to be part of any program of Ramanujan College, especially the love and affection shown by Professor Agrawal, Dr. D.K. Mishra, Dr. Ashish, Shipra, and entire team, Nikhil, Vipin. So I always feel that I have 2 institutions. One is IGNC, another is Ramanujan College. I feel myself very well connected with the institution. And I'm so glad and happy to be part of today's inaugural program. I thank our guest of honors, Professor Jindal and Professor Shukla, for having faith in me and inviting and giving this honor to deliver this keynote address in this very important program. So let me just have a few, some small presentation, then I will share my views on this topic. I hope you can see my presentation.
Yes, sir.
So the topic is very, very important, meaningful research and IPRs. Research is only meaningful when it is done for the benefit of the society, for the benefit of the human beings, for the benefit of the entire world. And in this context, when we do a meaningful research, it is also important that those who are putting a lot of hard work, efforts, spending a lot of money, a great amount of funding is required for good quality research. So it is also important that whatever meaningful research has been done, it should be properly utilized. It should not be misused. It should not be uh, like a researcher should not feel that his ideas or his thoughts are stolen or being misused. So in this context, when we talk about intellectual property, basically it refers to creation of the mind, such as inventions, literary and artistic work, designs and symbols, names and images used in various activities. And there are various ways of protecting this intellectual creation of the mind, human mind. Uh, the literary work can be uh, and artistic work can be protected by copyright. Then you can protect your innovations through patent. You can protect your trade designs, trademark. You can put visual designs of your trade through trade dress and definitely whatever trade secret you have, commercial interest secret, you can protect by trade secret, and also with the geographical indication, like when we talk about orange from Nagpur, that's a kind of branding. We have seen cases of basmati rice and all those things, turmeric and all those things. So in this context, it is intellectual property right is a very, very important topic and very, very useful for researcher to understand that whatever research you are doing, you also need to protect it. It is a very broad topic. In my keynote address, I'll be restricting on the academic research because it is not possible to talk on all the aspects in such a short time. So when we talk about copyrights in academic research, as a researcher, we have different ways of protecting and safeguarding copyrights. Like we are, as a user of information, we are supposed to respect and protect the copyrights of others. As a research disseminator of information, we are also supposed to protect the copyrights and other rights of others. But when we talk about creator of information, researcher as a creator of information, we have to protect our own copyrights, our own intellectual creation. So in this context, it is very important to understand various dimensions of copyrights. Like when we are using certain information, we should clearly understand what is this fair use. Like when you are using somebody's material, uh, you are using in classroom, you are using in research, for individual research, for group research, for institutional research. So there are certain way of using certain material, and for academic and research, fair use is a very, very important topic and very, very important provisions. I think because of this Delhi University case was uh, given in the favor of university and the photocopying operator. So in this uh, we need to understand, we need to educate our researcher that how to protect this fair use. And there is no clear cut definition of fair use provided in any copyright laws in India or abroad. But there are various ways of determining the fair use. So how to determine this fair use? You should know about, as a researcher, as a teacher, as an academician, everybody has to understand how to measure fair use. So when you determine whether fair use exists, course look into the whether the use is transformative by examining four factors: the purpose and character of the use, including whether such use of a commercial nature or is for non-profit educational purposes. The second is nature of copyrighted work. The third is amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. And the fourth is the effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. So whenever we talk about any kind of use of material, these are the few things which we should keep it in mind. Now, researcher as a user of information, there are certain other things. You need to protect the copyrights of others. You need to respect the copyright of the others. Like when you are photocopying, making course pack, you are downloading any material, you are downloading various kind of digital. Like we need to understand many times there may be some kind of freely available material, but the freely material cannot be circulated in group or in the masses without the permission of copyright holder. So there are certain kind of copyright restrictions which we need to understand. We also need to understand that in this digital world, when we talk about databases or e-journals, this systematic downloading is also a kind of offense, and it comes under various kind of licensing. So like library, when subscribe something, sign lot of license agreement, and in this context, we need to understand those license agreement. Now, researcher as a creator of information. So there are three important things which a researcher should understand to protect your copyright. Like traditional copyright, what is covered under Indian copyright, because land of law is the first one to. According to the traditional copyright, work cannot be used, adapted, copied, or published without the creator's permission. So what does it mean? It means the original work is to be protected under copyright when it is created under the copyright law. Now, there are some other provisions like Creative Commons. Like you may be having certain copyright restrictions, but there are certain provisions through which work may be used without permission, but only under certain circumstances, where a creator is setting certain rules for the way the work is used. So here, as a researcher, you have certain authority. You may be publishing an article in Elsevier journal or in any public commercial publication, but there are certain ways you can keep certain rights with you. This is the very important thing, and I'm sure Shipra and Ashish ji will be taking care of some course classes in this particular on Creative Commons, because it is very important for researcher to understand this Creative Commons licenses. In this Creative Commons license, only work that creators have chosen to designate as a Creative Commons license can be used. Now, the next third thing is the something in public domain. The work can be used, adapted, copied, and published completely without restrictions, no permission needed. So there are number of resources available on internet and other places where permission is not required. Take example, World Bank data. World Bank has given a complete license to make use of the data, World Bank data, for any purpose, including commercial purpose. So that is the one way. Another public domain definition is that there are certain, copyright has certain life and laws. Like copyright can be restricted for certain years, maybe for in India, it is about I think 60 or 70 years of after the death of author. So in this context, it is important to understand that you should when the copyright is over, it is out of copyright, and that become the public domain document. So all these three things are very important for researcher to understand. Now, when we talk about all those things, let's understand a copyright owner's rights. The primary goal of copyright law is to protect the time, effort, and creativity of the work's creator. As such, the Copyright Act gives the copyright owner certain exclusive rights, including right to reproduce the work, prepare derivatives, work based on the original work, distribute copies of the work by sale, lease, or other transfer of ownership, perform the work publicly, display the work publicly. So these are certain exclusive rights given to the copyright holder, and suppose somebody else is using this, that's a violation of copyright. There are certain provision in the copyright when the rights can be transferred. The copyright owner can decide to authorize somebody, some people or some organization to give those rights. And the copyright owner has option and ability to transfer his or her exclusive right, uh, or set up some rights out of that. Like if an author or artist creates a work of a company or in the course of his or her employment, the creator is usually not the copyright owner. The situation is known as, and it gives copyright ownership to the employee or person who's commissioned the work. For example, of thesis and dissertation, a student is creating thesis and dissertation, so exclusively as per the copyright, student is the copyright holder. But university, by being the funding agency and by the virtue of the grant agency, it has certain rights to make use of the thesis for academic and research purpose without the permission of the student. Copyright law of India, which was like we need to understand two things. Prior to 21 January 1958, the Indian Copyright Act 1914 was applicable in India and is still applicable for works created prior to 21 January 1958, when the new act came into force. The Copyright Act of 1911 passed by the Parliament of the United Kingdom as modified, and its application to India by the Indian Copyright Act 19. Copyright Act 1957, which has been revised, amended from time to time. The latest amendment is in 2012. So all the provisions of this are applicable. In addition to that, there is something called International Copyright Order as amended in 1919. So copyright works of the countries mentioned in the International Copyright Order are protected in India, as if such works are Indian works. The term in a work shall not exceed that which is enjoyed by its own country of origin. So that is the kind of restrictions on this. And the duration of copyright vary from one to another. Like in case of India, as per Copyright Act 1957, lifetime of the author plus 60 years from the beginning of the calendar year next following the year in which the author dies. Similarly, for anonymous work, posthumous work, cinematographic film, sound records, government work, public undertaking, international agency photographs, until 60 years from the beginning of the calendar years next following the year in which work was first published. But there are certain other copyright exception which has been given in the copyright law, which we need to understand and we need to study. And because of paucity of time, I will not able to talk about those copyright exceptions. So in every country, there is a different time duration of the out of copyright provisions, like starting from 25 years to 100 years. All these things are applicable in different countries. So apart from protecting the copyright, it is also important that we should understand that how we can give certain exclusive right for use of our material without the permission of the copyright holder. Is in this context, these Creative Commons licenses are very important. It is an internationally active non-profit organization that provides free licenses for creators to use when making their work available to the public. These licenses help the creator to give permission for others to use the work in advance under certain conditions. So in this context, all rights are not reserved. Some rights are reserved. That is the basic meaning of the Creative Commons license. Apart from that, there are a number of other public copyright licenses, but I will not discuss more in detail. I will just give you some brief idea about Creative Commons licenses. So Creative Commons licenses, there are about 6 categories apart from public domain. So in this, attributions are different, like attribution CC BY. This license lets others contribute, remix, tweak, and rebuild upon your work, even commercially, as long as they credit you for the original creator. This is the most liberal Creative Commons licenses, where you are allowing everything. Then CC BY SA, this license get some more little restrictions, like if you share a like and it is not for commercial use, then you have to give copyleft free and opens other provisions. Similarly, CC BY ND, similarly CC BY NC, attribution non-commercial share alike, CC BY NC SA, attribution non-commercial like no drive, CC BY NC NDA. So one need to understand all these 6-7 provisions of Creative Commons license, and you are free to choose, like how you can choose this Creative Commons license. Nowadays, there are certain publishers who allow you to keep certain rights with you. So in this form, copyright form, when you are signing a copyright form, you can make certain provisions. Or if you are publishing in open access, there are certain journals which have certain kind of such licenses. There are some repositories. So all these things need to be understood. And this public domain consists of all the creative works to which no exclusive intellectual property rights apply. That's why we say everything is in public domain. Now, apart from these copyrights, there are certain moral rights. One need to understand that there are certain ethics, and those ethics are called ethics, research and publication ethics, or research ethics. This plagiarism or research and publication ethics are different from copyrights. Copyright is about protecting rights of creator of information. It is to protect unauthorized or unlicensed copying of a work subject to copyright laws of a country. Plagiarism is using someone else's work or ideas without giving proper credit. So here it is the violation of academic norms, but it is the violation of IPC code of conduct where punishment can be given. Plagiarism is applicable to only the copyright is applicable to only the licensed contents, but plagiarism is applicable to even unpublished material, the oral information, any kind of information which is known to various people. So we need to understand that copyright is having certain land of laws or certain things, but plagiarism is more about international convention, practices, and various kind of ethical norms. You don't require anybody's permission to quote in case of like plagiarism, because right to quote or right of quotation or quotation right is one of the copyright exceptions provided by the Berne Convention Article 10. So whenever you are giving a quotation, because in quotation you have to give verbatim, you have to copy the entire text. So in this context, you don't require any permission. You need to follow certain citation rules in the regard of this particular thing. This research and publication ethics, which are also moral rights, and in this moral right, we have to see this research misconduct play a very important role. So this fabrication, falsification, and plagiarism, all these comes under moral rights. So one need to understand these moral rights and should protect and should understand how to avoid plagiarism, how to avoid unintentional or accidental plagiarism, how to avoid self-plagiarism. So I'm sure beside copyrights, this avoiding plagiarism or falsification or fabrication, all these research misconduct are also important. Apart from these literary works, there are certain other ways, like if you want to deposit your article in a repository created by your university and institutions, it is also need to be understood, like because there are certain rights given by certain publishers that you can deposit your preprint or you can deposit after 6 months, some embargo period. There are certain rules, and I suggest the participant should be explained about this Sherpa Romeo website. And basically, it is an online resource that aggregates and analyzes publishers' open access policies from around the world and provides summaries of publishers' copyright and open access archiving policies on a journal by journal basis. So I'm sure Shipra and Ashish will be taking care of making people understand about these copyright and open access archiving policies. Then there are certain things like traditional knowledge system. Professor Shukla talked about India, ancient knowledge system and research being done in ancient Indian time. Yes, it is true. More than 10 million manuscripts available in India are the great example of our intellectual creations. Although those manuscripts were not part of any kind of copyright and other things. Now, still there are certain kind of confusion in mindset. Let me clear, cultural heritage, which is thousands of years old, is beyond these copyright provisions. So, and many times there is no clarity what is the copyright, which is under copyright, which is not in the copyright. So to overcome these issues of cultural heritage, there is an organization called Right Statements. It is similar to Creative Commons. And that organization has decided to come out with a certain kind of rights statement. And these rights statements are exclusively for cultural heritage, like manuscripts or intangible cultural heritage or tangible cultural heritage. So in this uh, right to statement, there are three categories of right statement. One is in copyright, uh, second is no copyright, and other. So basically, when you are aware of the copyright, then you mention this copyright. When you are sure that there is no copyright on this particular under this particular heritage, you can put this no copyright symbol. And if there is you have doubt, you are not sure, then you are not very clear about the copyright of this particular resource, then you put this right statement question mark. So these three question marks are mainly to indicate the status of copyright, like it is in copyright, or it is there is no copyright on this, or it is doubtful case of copyright. So in this context, I think some section on some class on right statement may also be taken up. So I think I will not take more time, because there are a number of other speakers who are going to talk about various issues on copyright. To conclude my suggestions to the participants of this particular course, please try to understand that uh, doing research is important, publishing research is important, but at the same time, it is also important to safeguard your rights, uh, your copyrights, your other intellectual provisions of like it may be patent. You also need to understand that when you go for patent, what is the stage you should apply for patent, what are the other innovation provisions in this regard. So I'm sure this particular program is going to help you in understanding that for a meaningful for protection of the results of a meaningful research, it is important to understand various kind of intellectual property rights. And I'm so glad that Ramanujan College Teaching Learning Center thought of having such an important topic, and participants are going to benefit from the experts in this program. With these words, I once again thank you, the entire team, and wish them all the very best for very successful conduct of this particular program. I don't have any doubt. I know this, the capacity and the dynamism of this team. They have conducted thousands of such programs, and they have become masters in that. I suggest that Ministry of Education should declare this teaching learning center as a model center in India, and it should help other teaching learning center to replicate the success story what Ramanujan College has done. Thank you very much. Namaskar. All the best.
Thank you so much, Professor Goy. I think I should share with our participants that I just, invited him. I just called him and I requested him that if he could be part of our inaugural and, have an introductory lecture on IPR and the importance of intellectual property rights. And he readily agreed. And we are always humbled by the graciousness he shows us by, always agreeing, always accommodating our requests, and helping us further this, motto of TLC of teaching the unreached. So thank you so much on behalf of Ramanujan College and organizing team. I really thank you for being with us today and giving us time on a Monday. Thank you so much. And yes, as you mentioned in your lecture, we do have lectures, on the different aspects of IPR, specifically focusing on Creative Commons also. Dr. Nikhil Rajput is one of the, is the faculty who speaks about Creative Commons licenses in detail. So we will have a session on that also as well. Now moving ahead, I would like to share with our participants certain rules or regulations which are important for the smooth, functioning or execution of this program. Please note that you all have to enroll in the Learning Management System LMS of this 1 week faculty development program. The information to enroll in the LMS will be shared with you within half an hour on the official Telegram channel of this FDP, and will also be mailed to you. Kindly note that this portal will be the only medium to access the daily course contents. There will be no personal email sent to any participant in this 1 week engagement regarding course contents. Any information, if any, it will be communicated to the official Telegram channel of this, of this FDP. Another important thing is that we understand that there are a lot of queries which can come over the course of this 1 week engagement. There could be some questions which you would like to ask us, and we are there to help you. But before that, we request you that we all have, brainstormed and made a very exhaustive list of frequently asked questions based on our experience of conducting such programs. So we request all our participants to kindly go through that, FAQ, which will be available in the mail, in the Telegram group, will be available in the portal. And that FAQ contains all the information about, registration, how to enroll, what could be the, very common errors that could occur, and information about assignment submission and other related stuff. And if there is anything, you can always write to us at the designated email. Third, submitting all the quizzes and assignments is mandatory, and each participant should score a minimum of 50% in aggregate to avail the program completion certificate. For today's lecture, you will be accessing today's lecture from the portal in half an hour, and there will also be a quiz for today's lecture, which will be available on the portal. And I request all the participants to kindly attempt the quizzes within the stipulated, time. And graded certificates will be awarded only on the basis of this performance. Apart from this, we also urge and we also request all our participants to fill the daily feedback form. As part of Ministry of Education's requirement of the Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya scheme, all the participants need to submit online feedback for each session. And not only this, your feedback makes us better. So it's important that you give us, your honest reflections on the program, on the daily sessions. I really hope that all of these rules or guidelines will be followed for a better experience of this FDP. And failing to meet any of the above conditions can result in denial of the certificate of completion to the participants. On this note, I request Dr. Ashish Kumar Shukla to kindly propose a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shipra ma'am. I'm audible? Yeah. Thank you, Shipra ma'am. So welcome once again, everyone, to this 1 week faculty development program. So on behalf of organizing committee and Teaching Learning Center, Ramanujan College, I extend my gratitude towards who made this inaugural session possible. And I would like to gratitude with our chief guest today, Professor Ramesh Gaur, for taking out time and sharing his remarkable thoughts with our participants and motivating them as well as us also. So, sir, your word today has surely set the tone of the program. We are also grateful to our guest of honor, Professor Nirmal Jindal, Principal Satyavati College, and Professor Manoj Kumar Shukla, Director Rajki Engineering College, Unnao, UP, for gracing this inaugural session. I'm also privileged to have Professor T.K. Mishra, Vice Principal, who always motivate and encouraging us at every stage of this program. Thank you so much, sir. This list of gratitude cannot be completed if I don't thank our collaborator and program coordinator, especially Mridula Bhatia and Kangan Jain ma'am from Satyavati College, and Abhishek Bajpayee and Vikash Gupta from Rajki Engineering College. Thank you so much for acknowledging us. And I also thanks to our participants. We are very humbled and grateful to joining us this online 1 week journey. You are the focal point of this program. We promise to make this program a fruitful one to all of you. So this list of gratitude is incomplete if I don't thanks to organizing team, especially in Dr. Nikhil Rajput, Ms. Bipin, Dr. Sachin Tomar, Ms. Shipra. So thank you keeping us all the communication and seamlessly executing this session. I really hope and wish all to be able to maintain effectiveness of this 1 week. Thank you once again, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Thank you so much, Dr. Ashma Shukla, for being one of the major point of communication for any program to be successful. And we really hope that all the participants benefit from this 1 week engagement. Once again, I convey my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Ramesh Gaur for joining with us today. And or if there is any problem on part of participants, they can always write to us on the designated email ID. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. All the best.